So joining us this morning is best-selling author, coach Lisa Goldenthal.
Hello and welcome. I'm Lisa G, your host. You're at the top of your game, yet the game is changing faster than ever. Strategies that got you here aren't the ones that'll keep you here. The pressure is relentless, and the fear of obsolescence looms large. That's why I'm here. Welcome to the new podcast series, Disrupted: How to Be Gritty and Unlock Performance in Business, Mindset, Wellness, and Success. She's the CEO and founder of the PBT, Post Betrayal Transformation Institute, a holistic psychologist, a health, mindset, and personal development expert, the author of the #1 best-selling book, The Unshakable Woman. Her recent study on how we experience betrayal made groundbreaking discoveries. She's been featured on Fox, CBS, Dr. Oz, TEDx twice, an award-winning speaker, coach, and author dedicated to helping people move past any blocks preventing them from the health, work, and relationships and confidence and happiness they want. Debi Silber, welcome.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to our conversation.
Me too. I'm so excited to have a former New Yorker here. I mean, I'm a former New Yorker. So back east, people, I want to talk to you, jumping right in, about how your biggest crisis can reveal your greatest gift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is an incredible opportunity. Now, some people choose to have it reveal their greatest gift, and some stay sick, sad, and stuck. It's a choice. Right. I did the PhD study on it, and I have the proof. So yeah, I did a study on betrayal. Of course, you don't study something like betrayal unless you have to, but it was on what holds us back, what helps us heal, and what happens to us, when the people closest to us lie, cheat, and deceive. That study led to 3 groundbreaking discoveries, which changed my health, my family, my work, my life.
Oh my God. Okay. That poses the question, obviously, the betrayal. Is that something you want to talk about?
Yeah, sure. So, this is actually my 30th year in business. And as life would morph and change, so would business. Going through health, mindset, personal development. And then I had a betrayal from my family. Thought I did what I needed to do to heal. A couple of years later, it happened again. This time it was my husband. Anybody who's been through it, you're shocked, you're blindsided, you're devastated. So got him out of the house. I was 50 years old, and I'm like, okay, 4 kids, 6 dogs, a thriving business. And I'm like, no, something really drastic has to change, because boundaries were never in place. I never really took my needs seriously. So I enrolled in a PhD program in transpersonal psychology. Yeah, the psychology of transformation, because that's what was happening. I didn't understand it. He was changing on his own, wasn't ready to look at that. And then when it was time to do the study, I studied betrayal. I had no idea we were going to make those discoveries. I mean, my intention was just to heal. But I remember saying, if I heal, I'm taking everybody with me.
Well, thanks for keeping it real. I just feel like we've all been through so much trauma lately. And that's actually why I launched this podcast during the pandemic. I really want to help support our audience, whether it's trauma, whether we've been betrayed, and everything feels like a betrayal these days when you just don't know what's coming. So that's really why I wanted to sit down and talk to you. And I want to ask you specifically, are there questions that we can ask to see if we're numbing, avoiding, or distracting ourselves?
Yeah. And that's one of the classic signs telling us we're not healing, because there were actually 3 groups in the study who did not heal. One group was the group that was numbing, avoiding, distracting. Like they were using food, drugs, alcohol, work, TV, keeping busy, reckless behavior. So these are 4 questions that I invite everybody to write down.
I've done them all. I know, I'm familiar with them.
Okay. So, and that's my way of saying, write these down. So am I numbing, avoiding, distracting? If so, how? Be honest with yourself. Do you walk into the kitchen, you're not the least bit hungry and you're eating? Do you walk into a room, you put the TV on just to drown out the sound of your own thoughts? Call yourself on it, right? The second question, what am I pretending not to see? Am I pretending not to see there's trouble in my relationship? Am I pretending not to see that health issue that needs my attention? Am I pretending not to see I hate my job? The third question, what's life going to look like in 5 to 10 years if I keep this going? play it all the way out. Take that relationship issue you're ignoring. Go 5 to 10 years in the future. What does it look like? Same thing with the health issue. Play it out. What does it look like? Same thing with the work issue. What does that look like in 5 to 10 years? And then the fourth question, what can life look like in 5 to 10 years if I change now? I'm not saying it's easy. Transformation happens and begins when we tell ourselves the truth.
I love that. Thank you for being so vulnerable and real. And I love this straight talking New York attitude, because if you weren't betrayed, you wouldn't have done the study, gotten the PhD, gotten all this work, been able to help so many people and do all these fantastic talks. I love the topic of trusting again. How can we learn after a betrayal or whatever? We've all, I've seen it so many times, like the things you talk about, when somebody's relationship falls apart, it never happened in a vacuum. There was always the things that we had the blinders on and we weren't really ready to look at. So how can we, once we've been through stuff like that, learn how to trust again?
Yeah. And that's why I wrote the book, Trust Again. And I teach a 4-step trust rebuilding process. I'm happy to share that, but I'm going to go through, like, this is how I look at trust. I look at trust like a brick wall. Every opportunity someone has to show that they're trustworthy, that's one brick in the brick wall. So you could see how it could take a long time to be built, right? And then in one terrible moment, series of moments, the entire wall can come tumbling down. Now, the person whose trust got shattered can look at that brick wall, the rubble of bricks, and say, I don't have the least bit of interest in watching that thing get rebuilt. Totally fine. And you move on. However, if the person whose trust got shattered is willing to watch the brick wall get rebuilt, the person who shattered it has to be a really good bricklayer. And they have to put it up the same way they did it the first time. Every opportunity they have to show they're trustworthy, one brick in that brick wall. And that's why it takes time. But what so many people do is they're so uncomfortable. They hate that feeling. They just want it to go away. So what I see is so many of the people whose trust is shattered, they're like, forget it, I'll build it. No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
You can move on. But if you're willing, you're even considering trusting that person again, that's their responsibility. Your job is to be willing.
Well, thank you for that. So is that something you can do, like after the betrayal, can you build your marriage back up? Because I've heard the old saying that trust is lost in inches and gained in miles, or no, the other way around. But you know what I'm saying? Is that something that you help people do?
We, within the Institute, we teach, if it's safe and in your best interest, to just heal yourself and move on, or heal and rebuild. Okay. And here's the thing though, rebuilding is always a choice, whether you rebuild yourself and move on. That's what I did with my family. It wasn't an option to build with them. Or if the situation lends itself, if you're willing, if you want to, you rebuild something entirely new with the person who hurt you. That's what I did with my husband. So not long ago, we married each other again.
Oh my God, I'm so happy that your story ended well. I was wondering about that, because can't you just now have a closer relationship because you've been through all of this work?
Well, what's so interesting is we're like a new family. We're all the same people, but we're not. And now we're having so much fun. We're so close. We really enjoy each other. But it took a complete and total crash and burn to rebuild something new. And what I see so often is people are so afraid of the death and destruction of the old. But until and unless you do that, you can't birth something new. So, when that happened, when the betrayal happened, I'm like, okay, that was the deal breaker. I'm on my own, without any intention of rebuilding with him. And then, but that's the opportunity. Your job after betrayal is to get yourself to your physical, mental, emotional best. Period, without any idea of what's going to show up. And I know that sounds scary, but when you do, you see things from a very different vantage point. You can outgrow that person and not have the least bit of interest in them anymore. You resonate at a very different level and attract someone very different. So it's a whole different game.
I just admire so much that you were able to rebuild, because it's so much easier for me. I think traditionally, I've always been a runner. Like if something doesn't go well, I'll run away. I think the hard work is really in rebuilding, because when you look outside of your relationship to start with somebody else, the same issues can come up again if you don't heal them, right?
You're so, I love that you said that, because we can spot an unhealed betrayal a mile away. It shows up in health, in work, in relationships. In relationships, it shows up in one of two ways. The first way is repeat betrayal. When there's a repeat betrayal, that's an unhealed betrayal. You keep getting opportunities in the form of people to teach you something. You need better boundaries in place. You are lovable, worthy, and deserving, whatever it is. And until you get that, you will get person after person to show you that that's what's going on. The other way we see it in relationships, so that's one way. The other way is, those people where they put the big wall up. They're like, nope, been there, done that. No one's getting close to me again. And we think it's coming from a place of strength. It's not. It's coming from fear. So we need to rebuild that trust, because otherwise it's like living half a life. It's like getting burnt on the stove and saying, I'm never cooking again. That's not fair.
I know, but I've seen that happen with myself and other people, where they put up that force field wall to protect yourself, but you're really keeping the love out and not keeping your heart open. So isn't it hard to keep your heart open after a betrayal?
It's brutally hard. And that's why you don't keep your heart open right away. That's why you do the healing first.
Right.
Because when you're coming from that broken place, of course, we're never broken, bent, you know what I mean? But when you're coming from that broken place, the only thing you can attract is broken. So that's why you do the work to heal. And it's like, there, I'll show you something. You will never forget this. Ready? So here, you start here and the other person is here, and then there's a betrayal. It's terrible. Right. But if you do the work, you improve physically, mentally, and emotionally, but this person doesn't, and all you want to do is be with that person, you will keep sabotaging yourself because you don't want to outgrow them.
Right.
But you like it here. So then you want to be here, but then you're like, why can't they do this? They're not ready. So when you do the work to get here, but you're so committed to being with that person, what happens is you get this.
Right. So they both have to be, you both have to be willing to do the work if you want to heal from a betrayal and grow closer and more. Isn't it more of a spiritual relationship once you can be closer and do the work together?
It's so different, because you're, it's the first time it could be safety and security, of course, love, but then after that, it's the next level of that relationship is, how do we best support each other to bring that person to their highest and best? Like, for example, who is the biggest supporter behind my book, Trust Again, where I share my story? My husband.
Oh my gosh.
Someone who wasn't willing to grow, that would have been really bad. And my kids were really supportive too. I thought they were going to be like, oh, come on, mom. They were totally behind.
I love that.
You're going to help a lot of people. So
I love all the things you're up to in the world. And I think the other side that I've seen of people that have been betrayed is they can't trust again, and that they're always jealous of you if they haven't worked through their past behavior of betrayal. And then they get into another relationship, then you get to be the person they don't trust if you're the new person.
Well, and here's the thing. I didn't do anything anybody else couldn't do. I just said, I have to heal this, and I'm not taking any shortcuts. I'm just putting my head down, and I am not picking it back up until I'm out the other side. And it's proven. I mean, one of the discoveries was that there are these 5 stages we will go through. You don't skip a stage. You don't change the order if we're going to fully heal. And you've been through the worst of it already. You owe it to yourself to move through the stages, because you are a different person when you're out the other side.
So you have to feel it and then heal it. Any other final?
Face it, feel it, heal it.
Face it, feel it, heal it. Any final words you want to leave our audience with about being unstoppable in relationship? Yeah,
you know what? There's a unique gift, strength, talent, and calling. There's something you uniquely do that no one on the planet does like you. And it is hiding under those layers of fear, doubt, and insecurity. And sometimes it takes a trauma, or it takes a decision just to let that show. And it's time.
Well, thank you so much, Debbie. Where can our audience find you?
I really recommend everybody take the post-betrayal syndrome quiz. That was another discovery, that there's this collection of symptoms specific to betrayal. And they can just find that at the PBT, as in Post Betrayal Transformation, thepbtinstitute.com/quiz.